Today, I will give you my unfiltered, unbiased, uncensored, and in fact, unapologetic opinion about Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, illegal immigration, and ICE, Charlie and Erika, Kirk. I'm also going to respond to your comments. I am going to answer your questions, and I'm going to explain why I apologized on my podcast the other day. The Joe Rossano Show is next. My uncensored opinion about Donald John Trump is this. Why is everyone so darn shocked? He was a beloved member of American pop culture. Any Gen Xers out there remember this? He was on Sex and the City, Home Alone 2, of course, before they cut him out, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Apprentice. One of the main questions he got from Dan Rather, David Letterman, Oprah Winfrey, Larry King was, are you going to run for president, Donald? I'm not surprised he's president. I'm really not. And I wasn't in 2016. Speaking of 16, I knew when I was 16 that Donald Trump was going to make, let's call it a run at president as far and do well as far as the polls were concerned. I'm not surprised at all. Donald John Trump is not one of, is the most successful human beings that ever walked this planet Earth, okay? Not Warren Buffett, not Elon Musk, not Bill Gates, not Alexander the Great, Donald John Trump, because none of the aforementioned are serving their second term as president of the United States. I mean, it is insane. He has very expensive real estate with his name, Trump, on buildings in New York, Chicago, Las Vegas. He has golf courses in Los Angeles, Florida, and they're building them now in the United Arab Emirates and Vietnam. Okay. I mean, you can't say that the fella hasn't been the most successful person that's ever walked the earth. In the comments, tell me where I'm wrong. Give me a name of not only someone who has billions of dollars and assets all over the world, but is also now serving their second term as president of the United States. Give me a name. That's all I'm asking is give me a name. I can't say all of that without saying this. President Trump's rhetoric, okay, I loved it back in 2016. So did everybody else, because these politicians, quite frankly, these crooked politicians, ask Forrest Gump's doctor, he'll tell you that, have taken advantage of us and lied to us and screwed us so much that when Donald Trump came along and said, hey, all our leaders are stupid, you're low energy, you're a second-rate person, you're a terrible person. And that's just what he said to the candidates on the debate stage. He said that to Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Senator Ted Cruz, and a whole host of others, and he beat them all. They didn't know what to do. They were used to, well, Senator, I disagree with your policy. No, Donald Trump said, you're stupid. You're ripping us off. And I got to tell you, as Rod Tidwell once said, I dig that about you. I like that. And so did everybody else. That's his appeal. But it's also a burden, folks, because there are about 75 million Americans who vote who hate his guts because of that. That's the reason that they hate him, in case you were wondering. It's not what he does, it's what he says. It's very difficult to give President Trump any credit because he's already given himself credit before we even get a chance to give him any credit. As far as governance is concerned, I think Donald Trump has done a very good job in his first and second term. And I will tell you why. Because he comes down on my side of the issues more than the other side. I am an independent. I am a traditionalist. I am not on the far right. I am not on the far left. Anybody who knows me knows this. But what I will tell you is this, okay? Here comes some of those real dirty opinions that I'm sure as heck not going to walk back. I don't care if a biological male named Sam decides to dress like a woman, be called a woman, walk and talk like a woman, act like a woman, and be called Samantha. I don't care. I really don't care. I do not want Samantha or Sam in my wife or daughter's restroom. I don't. I do not. I do not want them in a swimming pool, boxing ring, a basketball court, a volleyball court, you name it, with biological women. I don't. President Trump, if you're watching, you got it right. He got it right. He really did. And he settled several wars that nobody cares about or talks about. It's completely unreported. I do not want Iran to have nuclear weapons. I don't. And the fact that he hit him with bunker busters, I say, God bless you, Mr. President. I supported that campaign. You heard it here. You heard it here. And at the end of the day, he has brought in trillions of dollars of investment here into the United States. And yeah, so his family made money off of this. So did the Bidens. Okay. The Clintons. Do you even want me to get started there? They're all a bunch of crooks, folks. They're all a bunch of crooks. It's just what crook can you stand, and what crook comes down on more things that you care about than the others. Okay. I do not want biological males who transition to biological females in all biological female prisons. Okay. Boom. If this mic came off, I would drop it. And, that's the bottom line. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden had dementia. And I'm going to go ahead and diagnose him right here. And for this reason, my mother had dementia, rest in peace. I was one of her primary caregivers as her life started to slip away, last few years of her life. And I could spot dementia a mile away. I know exactly what dementia looks like. I lived it. I've seen it. Now, difference between me and some others who do this type of work, I don't think it's funny. It's not a punchline to me. I don't sit here and say Sleepy Joe. He had dementia, folks. He had a disease of old age. Should have been president during that time frame. There's no question about it. Mainstream media called videos where he's walking around like he's on the moon, cheap fakes, until they couldn't, until the debate debacle. And then they turned on him. Kamala Harris was the border czar, folks. They allowed, according to the Biden administration, they allowed about 8 million illegal immigrants into the United States. 8 million. And that's their numbers. Now, the reason that Trump says it's 20 to 25 million, everybody says he's crazy. The people on the left say he's crazy. People that hate him say he's crazy, is they didn't count the getaways. They didn't count the folks that they didn't catch at the border. They didn't catch the folks that came in the back of a truck, 200 at a time. They didn't count those. So that number being a little more towards 20 million, it's very possible. That is very, very possible. But again, I don't think, and I regret to say, I don't think that former President Biden even had any idea what was going on. It was that bad, folks. It was that bad. When people say, Joe, what is your opinion of illegal immigration? Laken Riley, Jocelyn Nungary, Kate Steinle, Molly Tibbetts in my hometown of Maryland, Kayla Hamilton. 20-year-old woman in Aberdeen, Maryland, sexually assaulted and strangled by a 17-year-old MS-13 gang member. Of course, in the United States illegally. That's what I think about. That is what I think about. And when we talk about illegal immigration, ICE, Gestapo, Nazis, Jesus, etc., I got to ask you mothers out there that are on the far left who hate Trump and hate ICE and want an open border. What do you say to Laken Riley's parents? What do you say to Laken Riley's family? What do you say, Jocelyn Nungary, 12 years old, Houston, Texas, strangled, sexually assaulted by a Venezuelan nationalist, believed to have entered the country illegally and had a deportation order. Kate Steinle, you remember this? Several years ago, shot on Pier 14 in San Francisco by an undocumented Mexican immigrant with prior deportation orders. I could do this all day. I can read this all day. ICE. Okay. I want to take you back not that long ago to the 2024 presidential campaign. Former President Trump, Vice President Harris. President Trump, or at the time, former President Trump, he went on the campaign trail every single minute of every single day and said mass deportation. That's what he said, mass deportation. They're coming in from prisons and mental institutions. We've all heard this. You've all heard this. He said it every night. I could turn the television down and know what he's going to say. He's going to say, they're coming in from mental institutions. They're coming in from prisons. Drugs are pouring in. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. He isn't. And he won all 7 swing states. He won in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. He flipped Nevada. He flipped Arizona. He flipped Georgia. He did what he said he was going to do, which is go after the illegal immigrants, especially those who have criminal records. A lot of the states here in the United States, sanctuary cities, won't let ICE go into a prison and grab a child molester. They won't. So ICE has to take to the streets. And when they get a illegal migrant who is a violent felon, if you're an illegal migrant who is a painter or a plumber or a carpenter, you go to. I blame the local legislature. I blame the local government in Minnesota, California, New York, Illinois, their fault. And it's Biden-Harris's fault for allowing, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, 8 million undocumented immigrants into the United States. I go straight to Lake and Riley. I go straight to Kayla Hamilton. And again, I ask parents out there, especially those who have daughters like I do, which maybe makes me a bit hypersensitive about this. I got to ask you, what do you say to their families? What do you say to their families? Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. It's absolutely nothing. What a shame. It's a tragedy. And speaking of tragedy, Renee Good, Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, do I look happy about that? That's tragic. It's 2 young people dead. 2 young people dead because the local government, the sanctuary state, the sanctuary city, Minneapolis, and Governor Walz, Mayor Fry don't have the police hold back the protesters till somebody gets shot, till people die. I always give this example. If my best friend's getting arrested across the street, I'm going to not like it. I might say, man, this is BS. I'm not kicking the police car while carrying a loaded firearm and think nothing's going to happen. So let's get to this whole Nazi Gestapo thing. Sometimes, folks, when you make comments, especially on the internet, which is pretty much where everybody makes their comment now, do you ever Google Gestapo? Or Nazi? Gestapo. Asking for people's papers, and they dressed in military uniforms with masks on. So let me tell you what they say that for. See, the Gestapo, Nazi Germans, invaded France, occupied another country, and were walking around asking for people for their papers. See the difference? You see, ICE are United States citizens asking non-United States citizens for their papers. And if they ask a U.S. citizen that they make it's a mistake. They didn't do it on purpose. They are out there trying to find illegal migrants, entered the United States illegally, completely gamed the system, didn't wait in line like the good people from Mexico and El Salvador, et cetera, the good people from around the world who want to get into the United States and did it right or doing it right. They jumped the fence, they jumped the border, and it's not Gestapo because you have Americans asking non-Americans for their papers. And if they ask an American again, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Now, here's the thing that I just can't get through my big fat thick head is you have people on the far left who are like open border, leave the migrants alone until, this is my favorite part, until the illegal migrants are on their lawn. And then it's a different story. See, we should let them in. Who's we? Who's we? We should take care of them. Who's we? Because it's not you. Not if you live in Martha's Vineyard, it isn't. Remember when a plane of illegal migrants landed in Martha's Vineyard? They lost their minds. Yeah, that took 40 seconds to get them, to have the army get them out of there. And, the rich people in Martha's Vineyard are like, hey, I'm all for illegal immigration, but I didn't know you were going to bring them here. Whoa. I didn't know you were going to bring them here. Get those brown people out of here. Seriously, let's give them some Fruit Loops and get them out of here. We don't have the social services capacity for these illegal migrants here in Martha's Vineyard. I got it now. You see, when Tren de Aragua, when they occupy an apartment? It's just a handful. It's just a handful. Yeah, well, I'm going to bring a handful of migrants to your apartment building and let them take it over. And you see what a handful looks like. See where I'm coming from? We're going to move now to Charlie and Erika Kirk. Tragic, tragic. Young man, 31 years old, dead. Now, here's the thing about Erika Kirk. I'm not a widow expert. Okay. But is her action suspicious? Are they strange? Yes. Charlie Kirk's memorial. She's selling T-shirts. They're selling merch. And she says, hey, look, in a Zoom call, we did a great job selling merch. Really. My wife is like a famous person, okay? And I'm having her memorial. You think I'm going to sell T-shirts of my wife at that memorial? Erika, what are you doing? She sets up his canopy, like the one that Charlie Kirk got shot under, and has people coming up there taking selfies under it. Erika, you wonder why people make the comments that they make. Erika, come on this show. Okay, and let me ask you some questions, and let's see if you can't provide some answers that have some substance. No wonder why people say what they say, Erika. No wonder why they say what they say, madam. You walk out on stage like it's a Kiss concert. Okay, pyrotechnics everywhere. Sell merch at your late husband's memorial. What do you think people are going to say? Charlie Kirk being assassinated, let me tell you what doesn't sit right with me. I have what's called a CWP license in several states. Okay. I have some familiarity with ballistics. All right. 30 odd six does a lot of damage when it hits something. It like blows half your neck off. It's like only this part of your neck is left. Right. Now that's my opinion. Next opinion is goodness graciousness. Okay. What a shot. Wow. One shot from that distance with that type of weapon, neck shot. And again, now people like Joe Rogan say it's doable. Yeah, it's doable. I threw a rock from 3 blocks down the street and hit a stop sign. Yeah, it's doable. Man, I mean, you got to admit that is some pretty accurate shooting from a 22-year-old kid with no military experience. We get back to Lee Harvey Oswald. He was in the Marines. He got trained here in the United States and in Russia. It took him 3 shots, him and whomever else was involved. Okay, but I'm saying he pulled the trigger 3 times. And some say there was other teams in the grassy knoll and some other places. So, that's for another episode. But I got to tell you, this whole Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk saga is suspicious. Now, one thing you never tell Joe Rossano here is there's nothing to see here. Oh, don't give me that. Don't you give me that. Why don't you go out and touch grass? No, not touching grass. All right. There was a young man who was assassinated in front of the planet Earth here in the United States, and I want to know why. And then his widow was selling merch at his memorial service. Strange, folks. Strange. Okay. I just can't. I absolutely just can't. I sit here in front of this camera to a deeply divided country, and even amongst my friends, and that makes me sad. Let me tell you what makes me sad. I have friends 20, 30, 40 years known each other. They won't even say hi to each other now because of politics. Okay, because one loves Nancy Pelosi, and I would say this. If Nancy Pelosi saw you, she probably wouldn't even say hi. You'd probably say, hey, Madam Speaker. And she probably would tell her security, get him away from me. That's how these people operate. And yet you fight. Her and her husband have $500 million. $500 million. And some of you fight with each other on the internet over her. Unbelievable, and getting back to illegal immigration and everybody, not everybody, but there are folks out there hate ICE, etc. Let's do an experiment. See, this is my 14th cup of coffee today. Now, I'm just kidding. Somebody were to say to me, hey, Joe, you know something? It's a 1% chance, brother. I'm going to get leprosy or inoperable pancreatic cancer. I'm not going to drink it. Now, you got 1 million people at the border, and you can make a decision now. And somebody says to you, 1 out of these 1 million people are going to kill a 12-year-old girl and sexually assault her and beat her to death. Would you let them in? Would you let them in? If 1 was going to commit that crime, I wouldn't. I won't let any of them in under that circumstance, just like I would not drink this if there was a 1% chance it was going to kill me. And that's the thing. That's the bottom line right there. I live in a new community, in a new house. There are, uh, let's say, either documented or undocumented immigrants all over the place doing work around here. I give them cerveza. Eh? Very nice. Very nice. But the bad come in too. The bad come in too. They traffic young kids. Okay. They bring drugs. They're in Tren de Aragua or MS-13, gang banging. All right. And that spoils the whole bunch. Yeah. 80%. Ready? 80% of voters polled want the illegal migrant criminals out of the United States. 50%. Are you ready for this? Almost 50% want every illegal migrant out of the United States. It's called an 80-20. It's when 80 out of 100 people agree, 8 out of 10 agree, and 2 oppose. 20% opposed. Bottom line, American people vote. Donald Trump said he was going to do this, and he's doing it. And he's doing it. Bottom line. Now, before I get to your questions and comments, I kindly ask you to please like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, and comment for all the latest episodes of the Joe Rossano Show. Now we're going to get to your comments and questions. I'm going to do the comments first. So our first comment is from Mike A. I don't think you had any reason to apologize. You played it safe instead of standing by your opinion. You formed your conclusion based on information available at the time. If new information comes out that proves you wrong, it makes perfect sense. I understand. I completely understand that. So to put this in context, folks, I had a viewer send in a question. Do I think that Donald Trump victimized young girls on Epstein Island? And I said no. So what happened there is there are folks out there, I'm not saying you, Mike, but there's folks out there who think I appease the left and apologize. No, not a chance. Come, folks, you ever watch a Joe Rossano show? Really? Not a chance. I say stuff nobody will say out here in podcast land. Unapologetic. But in this case, okay, I watched it back and I changed my opinion. And because of that, I felt I owed my audience an apology. I really did. I mean, because did he? I have no evidence to support that he did. And that's the burden of proof right there. But I don't know. See, I don't know. And that is my opinion. So I clarified it and apologized to the audience. And I don't regret it. And I didn't do it because the liberals came for me. No. Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea, Mike, what kind of emails and comments I get and instant messages? I'm ugly. I talk funny. I look funny. I got big ears. I wear funny necklaces. I wear funny bracelets. I get them all day long. If I apologized every time somebody came after me or said some bad stuff to me, it would be the Joe Rossano's apology show every single day. Not by any means. Mike A. I do appreciate you, your comment, and thank you very much. And I promise, definitely did not apologize because to try to appease the left. Not a chance. Next from Billy B. And this is a good one. At this point, I don't think any of it matters. No one seems to be going to jail. No charges being brought. We don't even know why Maxwell's in jail. Everything released is redacted as usual, and apparently there are emails that back up conspiracy theories people have talked about for decades, and no one seems bothered. There you have it. And there you go. Wow. If I need somebody to sit in for me on the Joe Rossano Show, Billy B, I may give you a call. He's absolutely right. And it gets back to my point is, what a bunch of crooks. Now, I got to say this, and I want this to be a soundbite. The Biden administration had this information. Joe Biden had it. Jill Biden had it. I suppose that's probably who was running things. The Biden administration, the Justice Department under the Biden administration had this information. You don't think that they would have said Trump every day? Look, it's Trump. He did it. And so did Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and Lord knows who else. That's what bothers me right there. Okay. They talk about Trump not releasing it. Why didn't Biden? Why didn't Biden? Part of the reason that I said no, but I don't know because I don't know. And I'm going to give you an example. Somebody came on my show and said, I know Donald Trump didn't victimize anyone on Epstein Island. You know what my reply would be? You don't know, but you don't know. But let me clarify again. Donald Trump has been accused of everything. If you ask him, he'll say he's been accused of more things than Alphonse Capone. He's right. He's right. Took him to court every night, every day. Every time I didn't see a Trump campaign. I saw him sitting in court. And New York, they tried to take his property. In Georgia, he's got a mug shot. Fawny Willis and her boyfriend tried to prosecute him there. Why not this whole Epstein thing? Because anybody who says that there is an accuser as a victim out there that they see on the internet, tell you what people do. Right? They do this. Remember when Charlie Kirk was alive, rest in peace, and people come up and ask questions and they got their phone, right? That's what some of the folks who asked me about this remind me of. Okay, I mean they see something on the internet and they think it's gospel. My mother used to do that, except it was television. Mother would say, you shouldn't do this. I saw it on television. Right? It's because you see something on the internet, except when you watch me, doesn't mean it's true. Okay, so I mean, at the end of the day, right? I have every reason to believe now, this opinion will not change, that if there was a victim, and I'm talking about a victim that's, documented victims, probably 40 years old right now. You'd be on Caitlin Collins, CNN right now, with a lawyer suing people. There's no question about it. And I'm going to address she's scared and they threatened her family. Okay. I have an initial and two words. E. Jean Carroll. E. Jean Carroll sued Trump for $80 million. $80 million. And last I checked, E. Jean Carroll is alive and well. So she went after Trump. She accused Trump, took him to court, $80 million, and lived to tell about it. Right? So my question is to those who say the victim is silenced because she's afraid that Trump is going to kill her and her family. Every time you come at me with that, I'm going to E. Jean Carroll because she's alive and well, as is her family. So I feel that if this individual exists and not on the internet, talking about in real life, she would have been on the Harris campaign trail on stage with Kamala Harris, describing detail after detail of the encounter with then business person President Trump. That's my opinion. But I don't know. I really don't. And I really appreciate it, dear Billy. This is from Steve Q. No need to apologize, Joseph. My mother called me Joseph. Read the question again verbatim. The question was, do you think, in all caps, Donald Trump victimized young girls on Epstein Island? Your response was an opinion, not a definitive conclusion. Do you think Donald Trump victimized girls on Epstein Island? You're right. And I see what you're saying. You see, what I have to say to that is this. I changed my bleeping mind. That's all. What happens is sometimes in reality, folks will tell you this, reality TV folks, it's what's called you watch it back, right? And when I watched that episode back, it had already been released. And I felt it was irresponsible of me to give an opinion of no. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't know. So my opinion changed, and I came on and apologized for it. And that's the thing you're going to get with the Joe Rossano Show is we don't like to get it wrong. We like to get it right. And I graciously, wholeheartedly appreciate every comment, every subscription, every time somebody clicks the notification bell, sends me an email. I really appreciate it. I absolutely do. And when I think I got it wrong, I came on and told everyone. Bottom line. So that's that. Next. Question from Kathy B. If President Trump was impeached again, would he have to vacate office? Would J.D. Vance be sworn in to finish the term? And doesn't that open up a whole new set of questions? Like, who's on first? Kathy B. I think that the chances of President Trump getting impeached for a third, or is it a fourth time? I can't even remember now. He's been impeached so many times. I think it's a third or fourth time. Yeah, but if you get 60 votes in the Senate, yeah, he has to vacate office. Now they're probably going to have to drag him out of there while the army's standing on the doorstep. But yeah, he would have to vacate office. And yes, the normal course of action would be that the vice president would be sworn in. There is an article where you can remove the president and all members of the cabinet, but that's not going to happen. So, at the end of the day, not going to get impeached again. And Kathy, you need 60 votes in the Senate for an impeachment to be executed. That's not going to happen. Next is from 1234 Susie Q. What are you trying to accomplish with your podcast? Susie Q, we like that question. Susie, when I decided to do this, decided to get a microphone, get in front of a camera and blah, blah, and et cetera, is because every time I turn on a podcast, every time I turn on a mainstream media or the news, they're lying their butts off to us. And I want to come tell everybody the truth. I want to come and tell everybody the truth. Please like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, comment, and I'm sure you're not shy doing that. But by the way, clicking the subscribe, I really, really appreciate it if you could. You're not mad at me at this point. Everybody's always mad at me. And I graciously and wholeheartedly appreciate you taking some time to spend with your pal Joe Rossano on the Joe Rossano Show, where we are unfiltered, unbiased, uncensored. God bless you, my dearest friends and fellow Americans. Please, if you get the opportunity, do not forget to adopt a pet. And we'll see you next time.